What's going on, guys? So we all know that there's five criteria that's measured for your credit score, and there's one criteria that, in particular, that you have very little control over, and which is length of credit history, which is about, I think, 15% of your score. It's a small percentage of your score, but it can mean the biggest difference between having a 700 score and an 800 score. That's 15%. And that 15% is pretty much based on time. The longer you've had your good credit history, the more points you get out of that 15%. And it's virtually impossible to have an 850 score if you don't have the time, period. Hey guys, this is Uche Lawrence. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope that the content that I'm providing you is extremely helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so that anytime I post a new video, you will be the first to find out about it. So you can have great credit, everything on point, but if you don't have sufficient time, then it means nothing. But what's interesting, I've come across quite a few YouTubers and people on YouTube who are really young. I'm talking about early 20s, 21, 22, who are like, they have an 800, 850 score. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? Because usually most credit card companies are not issuing a credit card unless you're 18. So if you're 22, that's 4 years. That's not enough time to get all those 15 points and also be able to meet all the other criteria. I mean, some of the criteria are easier to meet than others, but the time one is always an issue for me. Until I came to the realization that a lot of these young people were lucky enough to have parents who had added them to their accounts as authorized users, which I thought was very interesting. And I'm just gonna be honest. Most of the time, these young people are white. Rarely have I come across Black, Latino, Hispanics who are saying that they have that kind of credit score. But usually they're white, and I'm thinking to myself, this is interesting, because the only time I hear about authorized users for the most part is when I hear people of color who are trying to fix their credit. So they're buying authorized users, they're using their family members or whoever it may be to add them to their accounts so they can borrow that history. Do what you gotta do. As I was building my credit, one of the things that I did was I spoke to my wife, and she put me on one of her cards because she had that history, a few histories more longer than I had, which was helpful. So you do what you need to do on that. But it had me wondering, why aren't we, people of color, Black, Hispanic, Latino, why aren't we doing this for our kids? Because it's not that hard if you think about it. I believe some banks will let you add your child as young as 8 years old. Some are like 13 as authorized users on your account. But think about it this way. What if let's say you had horrible credit. You just like, listen, my joint's already jacked up. It's going to take me forever to fix it. But there's nothing stopping you from going to your local bank, Discover It, Capital One, and saying, here's $200, I want a secured card. And I mean, you would have to be in a bad situation for them to deny you, but you're literally giving your money as collateral on that account. But you do that. You give them that $200, you take that card back, and you tell yourself, this card is for baby boy or baby girl. Let's say your child is like 2 or 3 years old. You get that card now. $200, let's say, and you just maintain 10% utilization every month. That means every month, $20 you spend on there. No more than $20. Maybe you're putting laundry on there, whatever it may be, but just $20. And every month you pay it back. You can pay back $20. And no matter what happens, that card is faithfully for your child or your children. Because one card could work for all your kids. And when they're old enough, you add them as authorized users. And what you're going to see is that card will graduate into a non-secured card. And as time goes on, the credit limit on that card is going to be growing. But you're not doing this for yourself. You're doing it for your children or your child. And before you know it, that card is $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and you're still spending that $20 a month. Emergency happens, you pretend like that card does not exist. You do everything in your power to maintain that card, because that card is your inheritance to your children. That card is your gift to their future. So by the time your 8-year-old, your 13-year-old is 18, by the time the 8-year-old is 18, they have 10 years of credit history. By the time your 13-year-old is 18, he's had 5 years, or she's had 5 years of credit history. Now, what does that mean for them starting off? Because I know I can tell you, when I started off and I left home, I had nothing. If anything, I had no history and I had no education. And by the time I knew what was going on, I already had bad credit because I didn't know how to manage it. So during that time frame, you can give them the financial literacy. You can teach them how to use that money, how to manage their credit. Now, maybe you still have bad credit. Maybe your situation is still horrible, but it doesn't have to be horrible for your kids. I don't know. Something I just thought about. So please let me know. Am I just talking out my butt? Like, none of this makes any sense. But I welcome any input, and just a thought in my head. What would happen if you actually set up a credit card situation for your children? What would that mean for them in the long run? All right, guys, this is Uche, and have a wonderful night. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.